Hello everyone, my name is Aike and today's video will be a book and movie review of the wonderful story of Into the Wild by Jon Krakauer. So first of all, I absolutely adored this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I loved reading it. It was such an emotional book, but at the same time it was very hopeful, and I feel like it will influence me a lot during the next few years. It was just such a moving story and I thought it was great. This is non-fiction because it's based on true story and because there are lots of interviews in between the story and a lot of descriptions of the route that Chris, the main character, took on his travels. But first let me just introduce you to the story if you don't know what's about. What triggered Jon Krakauer to write this book is the death of Christopher McCandless. Chris McCandless was a young man from a well-to-do family. He went to high school, he went to college, he did very well, and he was supposed to go to law school, but after college he donated all his money to charity, he abandoned his car, and he just got out of his life and of the society he lived in, and he went to travel and live on the road on his own to Mexico, and he ended up in Alaska, which was his main goal, and he spent more than 100 days there on his own, just hunting and eating wild plants and everything, and then he died. So that was like the intentional idea of the story, was to be a story about Christopher McCandless, but it's much more than that. It's a story about all the people that he met on the road who were greatly affected by him, because as he's described, he was such just a very nice young man who could talk with everyone, who was very nice to everyone. It also talks about his sister and his parents, how they coped with not knowing where their son or their brother was for over 2 years, and in the end just getting to know that he's dead. And this is also a story of other young men who were just like Chris, but it's also about Jon Krakauer, his story. He followed the route that Chris took on his travels, and it's about the adventures that he has there, but also about his youth, why he was so greatly affected by Chris's story and what their stories are a bit alike. And I really liked the non-fiction aspect. All the other stories that are told are just very interesting and really affected me too, and I just didn't think I would like non-fiction as much as I did. In the beginning of each chapter there's a quote from one of Chris's letters to his friends, or from books that he read. Some of the quotes are the quotes that he underlined or marked in his books, and are just other quotes from writers that he read a lot because he was a really avid reader, and I really liked to read those. The only thing I didn't really like about the story was the very extensive descriptions of the route that Chris took through America, because my knowledge of where all the states are in America is not very good. I really have no clue actually, so that was just a bit hard for me sometimes because I just didn't know what they were talking about. Beside that, this book was just great and it made me so emotional and very hopeful too, but I will talk about all that, all this made me feel in the end of the video, because first of all let's go to the movie. First of all, the movie was wonderful, it was great, and it was great, but the movie and the book fit just so well together. The book doesn't tell you a lot of descriptions of all the wonderful places that Chris travels through, because it's work of non-fiction and it's not a story in which the main character describes all that's around him or something. It's more about the stories of the people in the book. But in the movie they shot at wonderful places, mind-blowing. It's so beautiful, and that was just great to see. Always, actually, I would recommend reading the book first, because the book tells you a lot of the background stories of all the characters that you'll see in the movie, all the people that Chris meets on the road, and the movie doesn't tell these background stories, so you'll just know more about everyone that he meets and that are in the movie when you've read the book first. What I liked about the movie is that it's very arty. If you liked Amélie, which is a movie that I absolutely adored and it had such a great influence on me. You will love this. It has a very vintage feel. I can't describe this because I never review movies, but it was just so cool. There are, you know, black and white flashbacks and parts of his letter will be like across the screen. It was just such a beautiful movie and there's hardly any conversation. A lot of, it's just voiceover narrated by his sister, and the soundtrack is just, it's so good, and it's by Eddie Fezer, I think, if I'm correct, and the music is just, it fits perfectly together with just the story of the film. There's one thing I didn't like, and I really didn't like it, and it made me so annoyed and just mad. I feel like because this is an American movie, there has to be love in the movie, but there was no love in Chris's life because he had just so much bigger things on his mind. He was thinking about like society and equality and truth and family, but there had to be love in the movie. So there's literally one paragraph in the book about a girl that he meets while he's staying with two friends at just sort of trampers camp sort of thingy. One paragraph about this girl that had a huge crush on Chris, but he couldn't take her seriously because she was just like 6 years younger than him. Well, in the movie she plays a part of like 10 minutes and they go on walks together and she cooks their food and she wants to like have sex with him, and I thought it was so unnecessary. It's not like they were in love or that they did a show together, which you do in the movie. And, it just really made me feel so annoyed because I don't think that was what Chris's life was like, if you know what I mean. The book and the movie are just so emotional. I cried a lot during the movie because of the reaction of his parents and because it is made so clear that Chris really wants to go home. All these adventures and 2 years away from home, they really changed him, and especially all the time that he spent in Alaska. He is different. It is just a very sad story, but at the same time it's just filled with so much hope and the feeling of so much possibilities in life, and that's what I really took from it. At the end of both the book but especially the movie, I felt very like unsettled. Especially the end of the movie is very intense and it's just such a tragic story, but at the same time it's so inspirational. And okay, I think I thought I told you enough about my feelings of this story. I could go on for ages, but just it's so inspirational and you have to read it or see the movie or both because you'll enjoy it. And that's it for now, and I hope you have a great day and see you later. Bye!